Welcome back, Cowboys Nation. It's another day, and once again, the Dallas Cowboys are at the center of swirling NFL speculation, with rumors heating up around the future of one of their top defensive stars, fresh buzz around rookie Shavon Revel, possible trade targets at defensive tackle, and growing expectations surrounding safety Juanyeh Thomas. The conversation inside team facilities and around league circles is getting louder, and today, we're going deep into all of it. We'll connect the dots, bring you the latest updates, and break down what all this means for the Cowboys as they gear up for a pivotal season under Mike McCarthy's watch. Let's begin with the headline that has everyone in Cowboys circles talking: Trevon Diggs. The Pro Bowl cornerback is still recovering from his torn ACL suffered in practice last September, and while the Cowboys have publicly expressed confidence in his return, rumors are beginning to emerge suggesting that there may be more at play than just a routine injury comeback. Internally, there are whispers that the Cowboys are carefully evaluating not just Diggs' rehab progress, but also the long-term outlook of their cornerback room. That's significant when you consider Diggs' contract, his play style, and how Dallas may want to structure their secondary moving forward. Diggs signed a 5-year, $97 million extension last offseason, and while the team sees him as a foundational piece, there's concern about durability. Remember, this isn't the first time Diggs has dealt with injuries. While he's undoubtedly elite when healthy, posting 18 interceptions over his first 3 seasons, availability is becoming a more pressing issue for the Cowboys front office. The organization is also evaluating the potential impact of Darren Bland's breakout and the growing versatility of younger depth pieces. Some within the team are reportedly wondering aloud whether Diggs will return at full form, or if they should brace for the possibility that his peak was already reached in 2021. There are even early rumblings, nothing official yet, but some league insiders have floated the possibility that Diggs could be moved in the next 2 seasons if he doesn't bounce back strong. That may sound crazy to fans, but the Cowboys are in a moment where they're trying to reset their roster financially around Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb. The team knows they can't pay everybody, and while Diggs is already locked in, the restructuring of priorities means even secured veterans may find themselves in trade discussions if younger talent steps up and needs paying. That brings us directly to one of the most promising names making noise at OTA sessions, Shavon Revel. The undrafted rookie out of UTSA has caught coaches' attention with his footwork, instincts, and toughness. Revel wasn't expected to be much more than a camp body or a potential practice squad stash, but he's turning heads at the Star. Several beat reporters attending practices noted that Revel has been glued to receivers during one-on-one drills, showing surprising poise and anticipation for a player who went undrafted. Coaches have reportedly praised his attention to detail and film study, and that's the kind of work ethic Dan Quinn built his defenses around before leaving for Washington. Now, it's obviously still very early, and Revel will need to prove himself once the pads go on in training camp. But insiders say that he's not only pushing for a roster spot, he's making a case to be one of those undrafted gems the Cowboys are famous for finding. If he continues on this path, it could impact the cornerback depth chart significantly, especially with Nash and Wright still dealing with inconsistency and Jordan Lewis approaching the end of his time in Dallas. The Cowboys are always on the lookout for high upside depth, and with Diggs returning from injury and Bland now a core piece, someone like Revel performing well gives the Cowboys the kind of flexibility they crave. And speaking of flexibility, the Cowboys are also actively exploring options to upgrade at defensive tackle, an area that remains one of the roster's thinnest positions. While Motzi Smith is expected to have a more defined role in year 2 after an up-and-down rookie season, the team knows they can't rely on him alone to anchor the interior. That's why trade rumors are starting to bubble to the surface, and Dallas is reportedly keeping an eye on a handful of names who could become available as training camp nears. Among the most intriguing names being floated, Grover Stewart from the Colts, DJ Reader formerly of the Bengals, and even Christian Barmore of the Patriots if New England leans into a rebuild. Grover Stewart would be a dream addition for this Dallas front, He's a dominant run stuffer, incredibly strong at the point of attack, and could slide in next to Osei Odigizwa to form one of the more balanced DT duos in the league. Stewart is in the final year of his contract, and with the Colts investing in younger players, there's some belief that he could be moved for the right price. DJ Reader is coming off a quad injury, but when healthy, he's been one of the NFL's most underrated big men inside. He'd bring a veteran presence and help free up Micah Parsons to attack more freely off the edge. Christian Barmore, meanwhile, is the kind of player the Cowboys might be willing to roll the dice on. He's still young, still on his rookie deal, and has flash-dominant traits when used correctly. If New England's new regime wants to stack draft picks and retool, the Cowboys might be one of the first teams to pick up the phone. The idea here is simple: find a consistent force in the middle who can not only clog running lanes but also push the pocket to take pressure off the linebackers and edge rushers. It's an area where Dallas has struggled to get consistent production, and if they're serious about making a deep playoff push, shoring up the trenches is non-negotiable. Now, while some of the spotlight stays on possible external additions, there's one internal name who deserves a ton of praise right now: Juanyeh Thomas. The young safety has been an absolute revelation during off-season workouts, and folks inside the Cowboys facility are raving about the strides he's made. Thomas has been consistently running with the first-team defense in OTA drills, and multiple coaches have gone out of their way to mention him in interviews. For a team that prides itself on finding hidden gems, Thomas may be the latest example. He came into last season as a relative unknown, but by the time December rolled around, he was flashing as a core special teamer and rotational safety. What's changed now is that Thomas has begun to take command of the playbook. He's communicating more confidently, reacting faster, and making plays on the ball during practice. With Donovan Wilson and Malik Hooker both dealing with durability questions in recent years, and Israel Mukumu still figuring out his role, the Cowboys could be leaning into a 3-safety system where Thomas sees real starting reps. Even if he's not a full-time starter on day one, expect Thomas to be heavily involved in sub-packages. He's got the kind of athleticism and football IQ that Dan Quinn valued, and Mike Zimmer, who's now helping shape the defense, loves players who can fly to the ball and create turnovers. That's what Thomas brings, and that's why he's now a name to circle as someone who could quietly become one of the Cowboys' most impactful defenders in 2025. All of this paints a picture of a Cowboys team that isn't just resting on its top-heavy talent. The front office knows that the clock is ticking. With Dak Prescott's future still uncertain and contract negotiations with CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons looming, the team is trying to identify value players who can contribute now and grow into bigger roles. That's why watching guys like Revel and Thomas develop matters so much. That's why being aggressive in the DT market makes sense. And that's why the Trevon Diggs conversation is worth monitoring closely, because big decisions are coming. One NFL insider recently said that Dallas is in go mode behind the scenes. That means the team isn't just kicking the tires on trade possibilities, they're making exploratory calls. They're gathering intel on who might be available by mid-July, and what draft capital or roster assets might be required. They understand that the NFC East remains extremely competitive, especially with Philadelphia reloading and Washington retooling under Quinn. The margin for error is razor thin, and that's why personnel moves in June can mean everything come January. There's also something to be said about the culture shift quietly taking place under the surface. With longtime veterans like Tyron Smith gone and Ezekiel Elliott's role diminished, the Cowboys are shifting toward a younger, faster, more positionally flexible identity. The players stepping up now: Juanyeh Thomas, Shavon Revel, Jake Ferguson, Tyler Smith represent that next wave. They aren't household names yet, but the coaching staff is betting that their hunger and upside will be key in pushing the team further than it's gone in recent playoff runs. So where does that leave us as we look toward training camp? It means there are key battles brewing at multiple levels. Trevon Diggs will be monitored closely not just for how he moves on that knee, but for how he fits into the secondary's evolving dynamic. Shavon Revel will need to keep stacking strong practices and eventually show it when it counts during preseason games. The Cowboys front office will be crunching the numbers and weighing the DT trade market against what they have internally. And Juanyeh Thomas, if he keeps playing at this level, could turn into one of the biggest success stories on the roster, proof that sometimes the most valuable players don't come from the first round. There's a sense of urgency surrounding all of this, but also opportunity. The Cowboys aren't just hoping that things will come together, they're trying to actively shape the roster in a way that positions them for a deeper playoff run. Whether that means cutting ties with expensive veterans, taking risks on younger players, or swinging trades to shore up weaknesses, every decision made over the next 60 days will shape the season to come. And based on the buzz around Diggs, Revel, Thomas, and the DT market, you can bet that the headlines we're seeing now are just the beginning. As always, Cowboys Nation, this is where things get real. The speculation is heating up, the evaluations are ongoing, and the roster puzzle pieces are moving into place. We'll continue to bring you the inside scoop on every rumor, every update, and every surprise move the Cowboys make as the 2025 season draws closer. Make sure to like this video. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think the Cowboys should trade for a defensive tackle? Should they be cautious with Trevon Diggs or double down on his return? And how high are you on Juanyeh Thomas and Shavon Revel heading into camp? We want to hear from you. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on those notifications so you never miss a single update. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.